So hi everyone, here's Jerry of the Portuguese Mad Lad. So today what we are doing is pretty simple. We are going to do our first ability, which is the dash. This dash will be made with the energy cost and the ability UI of it. So you can see it work pretty simply. Of course you need to make sure that everything is correctly setted, and you can see how it evolves over time when I am using the ability. So yeah, see you in the tutorial. Okay, so now to start this, we're gonna add some simple things to player command in order to activate and everything or abilities. So let's create two new inputs. Let's name it ability 1 and ability 2. No, not 21. 21. And ability 2. And now let's set it as boolean, and that's it for the player command. Let's first compile our project. Okay. So now let's head to our files. Let's head to the player controller and our project. Player controller, and here we're gonna process our inputs. So like I said, our inputs are simple. Two new boolean. Let's name it ability 1 and ability 2. Yeah, sure. And like so. Ability 2. So here now what we need is simply to pull our keys. So head here. Let's pull our two new keys for ability 1 and ability 2, like so. Okay, now we have it. Let's head to the simulation and let's put our inputs into the input that we sent on our entity. Okay, now we've done our simulate controller. So yeah, from our player controller, now we need to add a new execute command in our player motor, because he is interacting with all of this. And how we do it is pretty simple. We simply will create two new variables that we will assign here. So let's name them skill and grenade. So those will be abilities. So first what we're going to do is create a new folder in project, and let's create a new folder in our project, like so, and let's name it abilities. And here what we're going to do is create a new script. Knowing that our abilities are behaviors, we just need to create one basic ability, like so, and this ability will help us to manage everything. So let's copy first the parent script and let's deconstruct it. So yeah, so here what we have is simply first the entity behavior with an event listener, because we need that for the future. When we will do some visual effects here. We need to know if we are pressing the button, if we have the button up or the button down done, and of course we need the cooldown, the timer, and the cost of the ability. Pretty simple so far. Yeah. Here we have a update ability, so we can name it to execute command. I personally prefer to name it update ability because we are in the player motor execute command. And here we can calculate the ability interval like in our weapons based on the cooldown and the frame per seconds that we have on our bolt network. So here, let's start by adding this to the player motor, like so. So we have the skill and the grenade, and here what we need in our player motor is simply to head under the pitch state set, and here just simply do something like this. If the skill of the is existing, it can for purposes of her tutorial at some point it will not exist, so we will simply do things like that. So here we're gonna add 2 new booleans in our execute command, and of course this will be inputted in the update ability here. And this is pretty simple. We will it's like in the weapon, so for the reload thing, so here we're gonna check if the button is pressed. If it's pressed, we checked at first if the button was pressed, was not pressed previously. If it's not pressed previously, this means that we have in the case button down. And of course you do the same but in the other way, for the button up, and like so you have the button up, pressed, and down done to your ability. So this way you are knowing 3 states of your ability. And let's do a simple ability that we will name dash. This will be our dash ability. And like we said, the abilities are behaviors. So in order to make this happen, we just simply override mono behavior by ability. And here we're gonna just change the behavior of our ability. Because mainly now we simply know when we are pressing or not the ability. So let's add some new things here. Some network rigid bodies, some camera transform, some dash force, dash duration, and of course boolean that help us know if we are dashing or not. Let's assign them at the start of the ability, so like here, and let's comment this because we're gonna do this in the future. So yeah, here we are in the awake, we are assigning the cooldown that we want, we are assigning the network rigid body, and of course the cost that will be 1 for this ability. We will do the cost in the future with our player state. So here what we gonna need is pretty simple. We gonna need to override the update ability function that we have. Let's comment these 2 things for now. And here we're gonna need to add the energy to your state. So here what we're going to do is simply execute the update ability at first to know if the button is pressed or not. It's important that this is in the front of every code that we will write. This way you are sure that you are receiving the good inputs. And here, if the the button is down and the energy allow it to, let's remake it. So here, in order to dash, so here, execute this function, we need to know if the button is down. We need to know if our ability currently can be executed. Because the timer needs to be set it correctly, and of course we check if the ability cost is corresponding to our current energy that we have. So pretty simple. Let's head to this little thing in addition. So if we are dashing, we will simply do something for dash. So here we're gonna just check, just override our velocity over simply everything that we have. So here we just gonna do network vector.scale with the camera forward, and we're gonna scale it by simply 1 0 1 because we don't want the y-axis on our you know, on our calculation, and we're gonna just multiply the normalized scaled camera forward by the dash force. So this way we're gonna dash in front of our camera during this entire time. So in order to dash, we're gonna create a function that is named dash. This function simply will launch a coroutine that will help us know if we are dashing or not, like so. And it will simply wait for the dash duration, and this will be set so the dash is true when we launch it and dashing is false when we have finished using it. Pretty simple, very simple, very simple. We can do it in many other ways, but it's the simplest way that I found. So here let's do the thing with the energy. So let's head to our player state, and let's add here a little new integer, which will be named energy, like so, energy. And here we're gonna simply compress it to be between 0 and 6. This way we are sure that we are not sending too many bytes on the network. So let's simply compile our project here, like so, and normally it will be written correctly and it will stop doing this. Yeah, so very nice. And now we are sure that our ability works, but this is not the end. Now we need to head to our player controller. Where is it? So now we are sure that the dash works in terms of usability, but now we need to read simply our command that we have received. So input.ability1 and of course command.input.ability2, like so. And here now we need to do something more, like ability1 underscore ability1, sorry, and underscore ability2, like here. And now the execute command is reading our ability button correctly, and it will give it to the ability in itself, and the ability will manage itself correctly. So now what we need to do is to do some interface. Yeah, and interface is the most important part, because otherwise the player cannot know what we are doing. So here we're gonna have a little time lapse where I do some simple interfaces. So let's go. See you again in a few seconds. Okay, so now we have our interfaces. Let's see what we can do in order to make them work. So for the skills, we will need a new little script that will be our UI cooldown script. Like so, and it will be handling all of our UI changes for the cooldowns. So here let's see what we will need. So at first we will need all of these parameters here for the visuals, and 4 of these in order to simply see the evolution of our little thing. So let's start by simply adding a function that I have stolen on the Stack Overflow forum, and here it is. So this helps us to simply know to transform a float in a certain format of how I can say it simply. It transforms a float that is time into a more appealing view format, like this or like this, you know. So it's pretty simple to use. So here what we need at first is simply to have some little things added. So first let's head to a little function that will help us know what we are doing. Init view. This will help us to know when we to initiate the overall ability view. Next, we will need a function that will help us start the cooldown of our little, you know, thing, and a function that will help us update the view of this ability. And at last, you can see that we are missing the update cost function. This function will simply help us to know if we can cast it or not, and the visual will change somehow to show you that you can cast it or not. Yeah, pretty simple. So let's see what we need more here. We don't need anything more. So let's just assign this little thing. So fill in fill, timer in timer, shortcut in the shortcut, and cost in the cost. Let's do the same for the ability too, where we have UI cooldown ability, and timer to timer, fill to fill, shortcut to shortcut, and cost to cost. So this will help us handle this overall. We are not, of course, finished with it. So now we need to go to the GUI controller of a little party. Let's see what we can add inside. So of course we're gonna add things like our abilities. So here let's add them here, and let's add the variables like so, and of course add the energy variable because we need it. So let's add the UI library in our little thing, UI like so. And now we are sure that we have everything here. In terms of functions, we need to update the show function. So here we're just gonna simply do something like this. So hide like before ammo panel, and here the energy count is simply the parent that we're gonna hide. And yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Let's just add this little thing, which is here, and this will help us to know if we are updating the 1 or the 2 based on the cost. And I think it's all done. So now let's head to the player callback one more time. So let's first add the energy callback here. And the energy callback will be simply based on the energy function update that we have done here. So like this, state.energy is the new value to give to our little friend. And here, like we have assigned the life, we're gonna assign the energy, and it will be equal to 6. And here in our ability, so let's uncomment this, and in the dash let's uncomment the lines that will help us simply initiate all of that, like so. So before we leave our little thing to build our game, let's simply assign the skill 1 and the skill 2, and of course the energy to the parent. Okay, so now we have done our interfaces. Let's head to the player and let's add the dash ability, and let's add it to the player motor here as a skill 1, and here in the camera slot let's put the camera over the player. So now that you build the game, you can start 2 new clients. Let's head to this, let's connect them, and let's remove the consoles, and now we can see that the player moves correctly. If we want to enable the second ability with the E key, we can't. If we use the Q, we see in the bottom of oh, come on. Okay, so bad news, we have lost a player. Not so bad. And we lost the second. So you can see that the amount is simply removed, the interface is updated based on the cost is updated, and when we are using the abilities, you can see that the little asterisks are removed based on how many thing you have. And yeah, that's it. So remember to subscribe, remember to leave a like, remember to check our social media. We are posting more often. I want this Tuesday or maybe Sunday to publish a dev vlog about Vandalhalla and the way that we have gone through this past year. And yeah, so have a great day and remember to code every day. See ya!